everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal, and I have a wonderful message for you today about the power of medical freedom and our pursuit of comfort. And what made me think about this is just all the things that we struggle with, or the things that we have to work really hard at, like our diet or physical exercise or a new skill or a new habit or something that we're trying to build to make ourselves better. It feels like we have been in this long period of time where we're continually in the pursuit of comfort. And I'm not saying that we aren't going to want to be comfortable in certain situations, but I think in that pursuit of continually finding ways to make things easier, more comfortable, less intense, that we've gotten really soft and really lazy. And I'm talking about this generally as a whole population. And it's mostly people, from my observation, in Western or civilized, more civilized or more developed countries and communities and cities where we think we're so civilized, we think we're so evolved, but we're fatter, we're lazier, we don't have emotional stability, we don't have emotional flexibility, we don't have the emotional strength sometimes to deal with the things that are happening. We take everything so personal. We get our feelings hurt so easily. And I think that all of this is in the pursuit of what's simply comfortable. And where this ties into medical freedom is if you are in the pursuit of comfort your entire life, especially as you start getting older, you're going to be tethered to the medical industrial complex. And please know that this is not to discount all the good things that are happening in medicine. I would never throw out the baby with the bathwater. This is talking about generally. As a whole, this is not a wellness system. This is a very broken system. And so I've got some really interesting thoughts that I kind of came up as I was journaling this week. And one of the things, I'm just going to go through some of these thoughts first, and then I'm going to give you a list of things that I think can break us out of our comfort zone and help us become stronger. And if anything, in the health and fitness and wellness realm, because there's all kinds of ways that we can get stronger in all kinds of systems. But this is kind of like my wheelhouse and where I feel comfortable. So think about this. Medical freedom is the right to make informed decisions about our own health. This is free from coercion or interference. So I know that when I want to make a decision about my health, whether it's going to be something that's going to be to my detriment if I do something wrong, and it's not even about doing something wrong, it's like I want to be the one that chooses what I inject in my body, what I put in my body, what I'll accept. And along with these kinds of things come responsibility, right? So here's another thing I wrote. In the pursuit of health, our freedom to choose should be as unwavering as the desire for wellness itself. So we should have an unwavering desire to have our freedom, the freedom to choose. We should never ever give in to either go along with the crowds or do something that's easier. And this is where I think we've just gotten too soft. It's like easier to go along with what everyone else is doing, rather than maybe simply do the research. It can be a little bit tough to dig into the research, because for the most part, the truth has been held from us for many decades. This is not anything new, but it has intensified these last 4 years, where the truth was literally held from us. And of course, all this is coming out. There are many people that are realizing this. And I think it's reached a point and a time where if you are newly awakened, or if you have been at the forefront of this, we need to continue to say no. And we need to stand up for our freedom to choose, especially on a medical path. All right, your health is your most valuable possession. You know, I have been saying this for many years, and I truly believe that you can spend your youth and your health building wealth. You can literally destroy your health in the pursuit of money and wealth and power and influence and whatever. But then what happens is you might have all of this material wealth at the expense of your health. And to me, your health is your most valuable possession. I can rebuild my wealth. I can get by on less. I can downsize to a smaller home. I can downsize to a smaller budget. I can change the way I eat completely to fit a smaller budget. But to get back my health is a struggle, and it's very expensive. And it's not always saying that it's going to be a struggle, but it can be more difficult to get back your health if you've destroyed it, if you've purposely or not consciously paid attention to your health. So your health is your most valuable possession. Safeguarding your medical freedom is our duty. It's our duty as a responsible human being living on Mother Earth at this particularly critical time in human history. It's our responsibility. It's our duty to protect our medical freedom. And when we do it, when we stand up, it can protect the medical freedom and show an example to others, right? The path to true healing begins with the freedom to explore all of the available options. Okay, this is the path. And I wrote this down because I'm like, think about all the things that were kept from us in 2020 and 2021. Now, many of us knew these things. We knew that vitamin D and exercise and sunshine and social connections, we know that these things are the things that keep us healthy. And for someone like me, I love looking at a hardcore research paper. I love reading about vitamin D and all of, how it's actually a steroid hormone. And it's actually, many people believe it's the most important vitamin that our body needs to stay healthy. So, these are the things that I love. But for normal people, or not normal people, but people who aren't interested in this line of thinking, we count on our media and other people that are in positions to give us information. We count on them. And we've counted on them to give us the right information for a long time so that we can make the best decisions. So maybe not even the right, but all of the information. What are the options available? Think about this. I've said this actually for a long, long time. When I envision what would be the perfect medical model where you, as a patient, as a person in need of some type of therapy, you go into a space where there is the option, if you need it, to do surgery. There's an option to do acupuncture. There's an option to do homeopathy, herbal remedies, a prescription medication if you need it. This is what wellness looks like. And of course, there's everything: mental wellness, emotional wellness, all of the things that make up all of the options that we have. We need to see and be aware of what all of our options are so that we can make the best decision for us. And everybody's different. Everybody is different. And where I think we go wrong is when there's only one way that's either pushed or promoted or simply shown to us, where we don't get to see all the options. In fact, this little thought process makes me think of a woman who's pretty well known, especially in alternative areas. If you love books by Hay House, there's a woman named Anita Moorjani. You might have heard of her. She wrote a book called Dying to Be Me, and she literally died from cancer. She crossed over to the other side, and she had lemon-sized tumors all over her body. She was very, very thin. I think she was 80-something pounds, and she basically passed over to the other side. And in that moment, what she describes is like when we go through life, we go through life with a flashlight, where whatever we see is where we are shining our light. I look over here, I shine my light, and if I keep my light shining right over in one area or in one direction and I go that way, that's all I'm going to see. I'm not going to see anything else that's around me or above me or below me or wherever. So when she crossed the other side, she likens this as a big warehouse where you're walking through life with a flashlight. And when she passed over, all of the lights in this ginormous warehouse that we call life, the world, our experiences, the information, the lights all went on. And she was able to see absolutely everything. And then she had a moment where she had an opportunity to choose to go back into her body. And this is a really powerful, very easy to read book that I would suggest if you haven't read this, pick it up. I'll put this below this video, the name of the author and the name of the book. So she went back into her body, and within 5 weeks, I believe it was, the tumors all shrank on their own, and she was released, fully healthy. Everything was completely cleared up because she now saw. And the reason this reminded me of this is because now, and it's been many years later, she's able to walk through her life knowing that we have an unlimited number of options and an unlimited number of resources that we can draw from. We might need to seek out these alternative things. We might need to do some due diligence. In fact, we must do due diligence so that we can see all of our options. So here's another thing. A society that values medical freedom, it respects the autonomy and the choices of other people. You know, this was something that came through so massive in 2020 and 2021, and even through parts of 2022. And I even think sometimes it happens not quite as much, but we must never forget what happened during those years, because people did not respect the way other people viewed the world with the knowledge that they had. And to me, I've never seen anything like it. And I really believe that we need to not forget, because there were a lot of people who died alone in hospitals. There were a lot of people who lived by themselves, or maybe were shut off from themselves. In fact, I actually still there's a couple that we know that we've known for, they were friends with my husband before we met. So we've actually been together for a really long time, 2.5 decades. And so I've known this couple for a long time, and they have a son who actually had brain surgery when he was very, very little. He was a toddler, and he's now in his mid-20s. And he'll live with him forever. He went through seizures, he's gone through brain surgeries, and he's got a very, he's just got a pretty fragile system. But this little family, they have another younger son, but this little family literally has been a prisoner of their home, because now, especially the mom, who's a lovely human being, has been so afraid for her son. It's basically like a family in a bubble. The husband goes out and he goes to his job, and he comes home, and there's this whole routine about him leaving all of his germs in the garage. And to me, this is the really, really tragic part, is that there are some people who will not recover because they did not get the information they needed. And maybe they would have still made the same decision, because this is not about judgment. This is not about judging anyone the way they choose to live. And at the same point, it's about not choosing or judging me. I don't want to be judged on the way, unless I'm obviously hurting somebody, right? Okay, so never underestimate the power of informed medical choices in order to shape your own destiny. Never underestimate that power. Because I will tell you, during the last probably almost year now, I have people who chose to get this who regret it. And because they don't feel like they got all the choices. And so never underestimate the power to make our own medical choices. There is a deep power in it. So not only do we have to have the information and know what our choices are and what decisions can be best for us, we need to see all of the buffet to choose what it is that we want. And then we can narrow it down to what fits us best. So never underestimate informed medical choices to shape our own destiny. This was a really powerful week for writing down thoughts. In the realm of our health, true freedom lies in the ability to make decisions that align with our own individual values and well-being. That's true freedom. We get to choose what aligns with us, what aligns with me. And there's a stubborn streak. I know that, I have this super stubborn streak that I don't want someone telling me, that I have to get something especially a medical procedure, that I don't agree with. I don't want anyone, if someone chooses to get any medical procedure, it should be their choice. If they don't want to get a medical procedure, it should be their choice. It's the same with I have very strong feelings about things like, cancer treatments. And I totally don't judge and I respect anyone the way they choose to treat themselves. Because sometimes you do need a combination of a bunch of natural things and maybe some of the things that are in our modern medical system. There is no judgment on any of this. But I can say with a certainty, at least where I'm sitting right now, because I do believe that we can change our mind if the situation arrives. But I never see myself doing anything like chemotherapy, ever, 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 ever. So, but that's me. And that is not something that I don't want someone to judge me, or I don't want someone to say I'm judging them by making that as my declaration or my decision, right? Okay, so in the realm, let me say that again. So I'm going to say this again. In the realm of health, true freedom lies in the ability to make decisions that align with your values and your own personal well-being. And then here's another thought. Medical freedom is the bridge between personal empowerment and a healthier, more independent life. So we become personally empowered when we have medical freedom. When we choose medical freedom, we choose the path to self-determination when we're on our journey of wellness. I don't know why you would want to go along with what all the crowds are doing, especially at this point in human history, right? I don't know why anyone would want to do that. But I also understand that there are people who do what they just want someone to tell them what to do and where to go and what's best for them. And honestly, that's fine. That's fine. If that is how you want to live your life and that resonates with you, like I said, again, there is no judgment with the way, but we are in interesting times where I think to so easily give away your decision-making abilities is not necessarily the smartest path to take. All right, so what I did is I wrote down some things and some of these things I covered in the past, but these are ideas about getting uncomfortable in the pursuit of health, because I think that's why people don't do things like go to the gym and lift weights or start on an exercise program or do cold plunging or stop eating sugar or stop drinking alcohol or don't eat that big bowl of pasta. Maybe just have a small bowl of pasta, because these things they're not comfortable in the moment. So think about that. These things might be uncomfortable in the moment, but then what happens is then it's like eating a great big meal. And maybe it's a healthy meal, but maybe you ate way more than you should have because it just tasted good. And believe me, I say that because I've done that. And I think anyone that's watching this probably can relate to that in some form or another, right? Where you have a meal, you maybe eat just too much, and then you kind of pay the price a little bit. You feel uncomfortable, maybe you're constipated, maybe you're having trouble digesting, maybe it just, you feel terrible for the next 2 or 3 days because maybe you binged on a whole bunch of sugar, whatever it may be. So there's always either the discomfort of reining yourself in a little bit or pushing through a hard workout where the payoff on the other side of that is always ginormous. So here's some of the things that I wrote down. And what I wrote before that is when we embrace comfort in the daily moments, what this will do, this will actually lead to the ultimate in medical freedom when we embrace discomfort. So I wrote here at the top, intermittent fasting, but also where I want to put that, because I do know there are people who can't intermittent fast. And so please know there's nuances on all sides of all these things I talk about. But here's the thing, when we skip meals, we give our body a chance to repair. It seems like we never give our body any type, we feel a little tinge of hunger, we don't wait for it to go away. We go find something to snack on because there's so much food accessible. And this is one of the best things that you can start doing is let yourself be a little bit hungry. If you're in a physical place to do that where, if you've got diabetes, or you've got problems with blood sugar, you've got medical issues. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the majority of us can skip a meal. And here's another tip. One of the best things that you can do is to stop eating 2 or 3 hours before you go to bed. Because when you get into bed with a full stomach and it's uncomfortable, or maybe it's comfortable if you lay down, it's like, okay, I'm so full, or I'm eating something as a snack right before I go to bed, then you lay down because it's comfortable because you're so full. Well, you're not putting your body in the optimal environment to get a good night's sleep. Now your digestive system has to go to work. And I will tell you, one of the best things that you can do, and this is why they do this in a lot of countries and in a lot of cultures, and even just, I know a lot of people have this habit even where I live, and I love to do this too, is after your last meal, you go out and go for a walk. Because you're moving, you're getting circulation going, you're breathing fresh air, and you're not just eating a meal and then becoming sedentary. So I would take, if you're a portion person, take those portions down. Really pay attention to what you're eating. One of the things that I love to do, it makes me feel really, really good, is when I take out bread and I take out all pasta. And even things like rice, white rice, I try to eat minimal. Now, some people might thrive on rice. It's not one of the things that my body loves. I have to eat rice in small portions because it makes me feel bloated, if I'm being honest. But pasta, if I don't eat pasta and I don't eat bread, I sleep good. My digestive and my elimination system works perfectly. And that's me. It has nothing to do with gluten. It probably does in some aspect, but even if I get, really high quality flour it's not made with GMOs or whatever, then my body still doesn't like it. Now I can eat it and it doesn't make me sick, or I just don't feel optimal. And when you feel optimal in your body, I'm telling you, you don't ever want to go back. You don't ever want to not feel optimal in your body. Okay, so along with this is HIIT training. And I talked about this either last week or the week before. High intensity interval training. This is something where you get your heart rate up for 30 to 60 seconds, and then you do something like walk around and bring your heart rate back down, and then you get your heart rate up. So say like you get on a stationary bike, or you jog in place, or you do jumping jacks for 20 to 30 seconds, or even 60 seconds. You go as hard as you can, and then you get out of breath. So that's high intensity interval training. What this does is this, and this is what I wrote. When you engage in HIIT workouts, you're taking a stand against sedentary habits and reclaiming your physical freedom. These can be hard at first if you're not used to this. Do the best you can, and it gets better and better and better. You see those videos sometimes of someone who's made a transformation, and they do the time lapse where they show them over like a year or 6 months or even 30 days or whatever. They're making a physical transformation, doing these workouts every day. And we get this satisfaction from watching someone on this video where it's time lapse, and we get to watch that transformation. But during those workouts, throughout a year or however long it took a person, they pushed through discomfort every single workout. And it's amazing when you do that. And I've actually had to do that to a certain extent after I had my knee surgery a year ago. It's like, it almost was like starting over again with a lot of the physical fitness, especially in my legs. It's because it just all of that, right? So these workouts will enhance your cardiovascular health, increase your endurance, and it will reduce your need for medical interventions. So I say push through the discomfort on HIIT training. Cold showers. Here's what I wrote about cold showers, because this is something that it's like, okay, cold showers, cold plunging, get in an ice bath. Cold showers serve as a powerful reminder of, of your resilience and your ability to adapt to discomfort. In fact, every person I've ever known that does cold plunging or cold showers, every single time as they're going. They kind of have to do a little countdown. And when they get in, either the shower or the cold plunge, 15 seconds in, and it's almost 15, 20 seconds for every person I've ever talked to, they go into this place of it becomes comfortable. In fact, I have a friend who's been doing cold plunges for a while, and he started doing them when he was older, after he was 60. And he says that now he actually has to raise the temperature a little bit because he likes to stay in it a long time. And it's not good to stay in super low temperatures for a long time because you don't want to bring your core body temperature down. But what happens is cold plunges or cold showers, they improve our circulation. They reduce the risk for circulation-related health issues, again, that may lead to a medical intervention. So that's awesome. Now this one is huge. Cut out processed foods. The closer you can get to where your food comes from until you consume it, the closer you get to that. Vegetables, fruits, proteins, eggs, whatever it is that you eat, the closer it is to its natural state, the healthier you're going to be. So if you can cut out processed foods, and one of the biggest things that really people are educating themselves on right now are seed oils. There are so many reasons not to eat seed oils. They're so highly processed. They go through this process where they're rancid, there's chemicals added, and in order to make them shelf stable, there is nothing good about. Now, if you just take a fresh pressed olive oil or even a fresh pressed canola oil where it's fresh and nothing's been done to it, then that's fine. It's different. The closer it is to its whole form, the better it is for you. Regularly pushing your limits. Okay, I wrote this down because I think what happens again is we get to a point where, think about if you're a person who started lifting weights, and think about when you first started doing that. It was uncomfortable. And then you got to the point where you're like, oh, I picked up these 20s and now it's easy. Now it's easier. It might still give me a workout, but now it's easy. So now I need to pick up 25s. And then, so you need to constantly be pushing your limits. Embrace the challenge of pushing your physical boundaries to gain strength and independence. This will reduce the risk of injury and long-term health-related either complications or issues. I know that there's been times I've been so grateful that working out has been a part of my lifestyle since I was very young. Many of you might know I actually started teaching exercise classes when I was 18, about 3 or 4 months after I graduated from high school. I got married really young, 3 or 4 months out of high school. Got married, and then I discovered group exercise. I went to the local YMCA where I lived in Idaho, and I fell in love. I took an instructor training, and I never looked back. I taught classes for 40 years. And so this was just something that I was very blessed to discover super, super young. And when you're in a position of teaching, which I love getting up in front of people, putting that microphone on and, dancing around the room and playing the music, or if it was a weightlifting class, I loved all of it. But what that did is that constantly challenged me, is when I'm up in front of a class or even in a classroom situation, this is why I would suggest that you go join a gym, join a class, get the schedule for a class, because then you've got someone guiding you. And that was actually one of the biggest gifts of my life, is to be able to teach. And I still lift weights. I don't go to classes. I should probably pick that back up and go be a participant in a class. Maybe I'll do that. That'll be my next thing. Incorporate strength training. We kind of talked about that. Practice mindful eating. That's something that we kind of talked about when I kind of flowed that in with the intermittent fasting. Reduce your screen time. Here, let me tell you what I wrote, because this is really important. And I do believe this can go along with medical freedom. We can reclaim our freedom from excessive screen time, which is a habit often associated with a sedentary lifestyle. I can catch myself scrolling, especially on like YouTube Shorts or, Instagram Reels. I'm really, really strategic about that now. if I am sitting, the other day I took my husband in to get his car fixed, and he wanted me to wait for him to see, because he might have needed a ride home. So I had about 15 minutes, and I sat and scrolled. And I thought, what could have I done? I should have taken my journal with me. I thought it would be a quick drop off. But this is the thing. We can get caught in the technology, not just on our phones, but on our iPads, our laptops, our computers. But what's happening is we're not being active, and the time just flies. It just goes. So I would actually opt for outdoor physical activities, because it promotes like mental and physical well-being. So get yourself out there. Here in Utah, it's cold now. We've got snow on the ground, and it's uncomfortable to layer up and go outside and go for a walk. But I will tell you, every single time I do that, I feel amazing. I come back in, I turn on the fireplace, and I will tell you, the payoff for comfort after something you do that's really uncomfortable is massive. So, and then 2 more things on this little list I wrote. So, proper sleep. This one, here's a trick, and I talk about this forever. Make sure your room is cool, dark, and quiet. But here's another tip that will really make a difference in your sleeping habits. Go to the bed at the same time every day, and then get up at the same time every day. You're getting yourself into a beautiful rhythm, and your body will love you for it. Your body will really, really love you for it. And then the last one, and I wrote this even though I've talked about diet a little bit here, is this has really, this keeps coming up to me because it's such an enjoyable way to eat, and it's the Mediterranean diet. I believe that that's a really, really easy diet to point people to. And again, nuances on all sides, right? So what I want to do is I just want to encourage you to push past your comfort zone on a regular basis, because this has the ability to take you into a place of medical freedom. So I'm talking about push past the comfort zone of your physical. Like today, the message is push past what's comfortable in your physical body. And I'm not saying do something that's going to hurt you. Push past, push to the point where you injure yourself. You all know I'm not talking about that. I am talking about get out and do something that's uncomfortable. Maybe if you're a person who is intimidated by the gym, go do that. That's uncomfortable even going to the gym. Hire a personal trainer for a few sessions, for 1 session. Go into a group exercise, into a class. You might feel awkward as all get out. But go the next day, and then go the next day. Get the schedule. You can usually go online and get a schedule. You can get a printed copy of the schedule sometimes and say, okay, I'm going to block out this on Monday, this on Tuesday, this on Wednesday. Find the classes that fit, and then go be willing to be awkward and inflexible and not strong and not coordinated. Go be willing to do all that. In fact, if you made it to this far, oh my goodness, 33 minutes. Here's one thing that I have been personally thinking about doing. I've been thinking about taking a dance class and going and doing something, maybe like a hip hop dance class. I love dancing. And even though I can keep beat, I taught classes for a long time. That was very, very structured. But it would be fun to go and just do a dance class. And, that maybe start of the year, 2024, is going to be a ginormous year of changes, guys. And I will tell you, this is the best time for you to step into medical freedom, full medical freedom. And I really hope that for you. In fact, what I would love is make a commitment to me down in the comments. Commit. What do you commit to? What do you commit to in the realm of getting out of your comfort zone physically, and how you believe it's going to help your ability to have medical freedom? I would love to hear what you have to say about that. To me, that it's a beautiful time to be here, because the shifts are so obvious now, and they're coming fast. Like, things are happening so fast. There could not be a better time to claim your full medical freedom by getting uncomfortable. Okay, guys, I love you tons, and I'll connect with you again next time. Take care, and we'll see you soon.